And talking about our Ukrainian player down a map already, we have him to the top right of Neoplanet S. It is
Dimaga from Europe.
From Ukraine in particular.
And he's up against the Korean player starting to the bottom left of the map in red. We have with the 1-0 lead in the series.
Samsung Ken Roro from Korea.
If you want to support these two players, they both do have Twitter accounts. Roro's Twitter account is actually a little bit more difficult to find. It's Skwangs1. That's SKWANGS1. And Dimaga, on the other hand, is just Dimaga SC. So follow the two of them. You can follow myself and Kaldor on Twitter as well. I'm at ProxyWolf and he is at Kaldor, of course spelled with an H.
Yep, definitely would appreciate that at the two of us, at the two players here. Give them a shout out as well. Wish them luck for the rest of their matches. I'm pretty sure that between the games they will try to check that out as well. And right now Dimaga needs some support. He is down one game. Roro with another map win here would advance to face Innovation, and Dimaga would have to play against Revival later on. So let's see what he can do here. Both players going into a hatch first style on this map.
Yep. Kind of similar to what we saw last game. And, you know, a lot of players have been picking in Planet S in this particular tournament. Very, very popular map right now. And for ZVZ, it's one of those maps that's really similar to Daybreak, for example, or Belshire Vestige, where you just have very wide open natural at the front, so baneling aggression can be quite effective.
Roro going into a bit of a later pool here. He takes gas before he starts with the spawning pool, so getting a bit of a lead with the gas mining, at least for now. And with the overlords that both players have been sending out, they know about the timing here. They know very well that there is no early pool, no kind of shenanigans, varying the same timings for both.
Yep. Gas is relatively similar timed here, a little bit later for Dimaga, which actually cost him a queen last game, so keep that in mind. And, you know, with the baneling hits he got, that was also really important. So just these little things that you can get over your opponent in the early game can sometimes snowball really, really quickly.
Yeah, Korean players are just doing so well. There's a reason why we have so many of them now in this tournament. They are still on top of the world when it comes down to StarCraft. And RTS games in general, Koreans are just the best players. We have very few Europeans who are able to qualify for WCS for the first season final, and two of them are already out of the tournament. Dimaga, the last foreigner fighting, and he is trying to make that happen, but he is up against such an accomplished player as Roro, a GSL champion of all things, and this is really showing in those games.
Just imagine the difficulty for Dimaga in this group. Even if he wins against Roro, which is such a insurmountable task to think about, he will then have to play against Innovation, who's considered by many to be the best player in the world. I don't think it's disputable that he's the best Terran in the world. And Roro is going for a Roach attack very early here. This is really rare Roach-born timing.
Yeah, we have the banelingness as you would assume already for Dimaga. He's a player who is very fond of banelings. He has been using those in Wings of Liberty for a long time against Protoss, where everyone else was trying to rely on a few just Roaches out there. And Dimaga, not as accomplished as, for example, Roro, but he was the runner-up at DreamHack Romana, took his title finally. And right now what we see is very different strategies out of the two Zerg players, with Roaches. And actually we mentioned that in the last game, that some Zergs will try to skip the Roach one, the banelingness, and instead rely on Roaches right off the bat.
Looks like Roro wants to be very aggressive. He made a bunch of extra Overlords, and he's just going to keep making Roaches and hide them from Dimaga. And as long as Dimaga doesn't know, he's not going to prepare. Right now at home he's making two banelings. That's not going to be very useful.
That's a lot of Roaches that are coming out of Roro right now. He really wants to be aggressive with this, which is a little bit surprising, but Dimaga does not know what's going on, and he's completely droning up. The strength of the Roaches later on is that they can, with a +1 attack upgrade, two-hit a Zergling, and this is something that you of course want to do, but at this point in time, Roro just tries to limit the scouting information of Dimaga and completely blindside him with his aggression.
It's a little bit scary that Roro puts those Roaches at the natural, because this means they can be spotted by a Speedling attack. Now he's hiding them.
He has the overlords there though, and now one of the overlords, speaking of which, sees the roaches, he sees them moving out. Dimaga needs more spore crawlers, and he needs them right away, and here they are.
Yep, second spine goes down. Every 100 minerals he gets, he's going to make into a spine core. It goes into 4 right now. They're not ready just yet, and the speedling follow-up is going to hit. As soon as Roar hits that overlord, he's going to make nothing but speedlings, so there's already quite a few already on the map.
Yeah. Dimaga is already taking into lair. He's nearly done with this. If he can defend, he will be in a good spot. He has a lead in Harvesters. The first spine crawler is there, but that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, he needs all the rest of them. He's making 6 right now. Banelings get a decent amount of hits off. He splits the roaches. Nicely done by Roro. The spines are getting close to the finish, but here come those speedlings.
He's trying to buy time. Dimaga, that is one of the spine crawlers is gone. The Lynx running into the main base, and he needs to defend. He needs to at least send one of those banelings into the main. Most of the spine crawlers are already gone by now, but he still have like 4 left that he could use to fend this off.
Yeah, and Dimaga has a lot of production right now. Many more speedlings coming out here. As long as he can make sure the roaches don't get in his main base, he should be able to hold this.
Yeah, but he needs to commit with those zerglings that he has. He has even more on the ramp, and now he's using them. The roach born or the baneling nest is gone, and now he can really fend this off, at least for now. And Roro is actually a little bit in trouble here if he's not able to push through.
Yeah, he has no drones. I mean, he has right now 34 to 38. He just made another round of them. He's trying to transition, but he just spent all of his love on drones, so he's not going to continue the attack. And Dimaga has the better tech by far with the Spire.
Yeah. Dimaga already on the way to get his Spire. He is so significantly ahead in tech right now. He will control the map. He has the complete map control here, and he needs to use this. Getting out those Muralisks first, hunting down Overlords of Roro, and just making sure that Ro does not get a 3rd base while he himself gets his 3rd up, gets a lead in gas, and then carries this advantage into the late game. Just making sure that he does not overcommit now to counter aggression.
Yeah, nice attempt to block here by Roro, and actually he's going to do quite well against this Dimaga.
He can,
he's trying to break through, and he does. He gets both queens potentially here. It looks like he will.
He squeezed in, and he got the surround. For a second it looked like it was airtight, but those Zerglings, they found a way. And now they took down 2 of the queens. Really good to limit the production. He just sees that the lair is now completed. And Dimaga, he is going now straight into the Muralist, or could. He's already done with the Spire. But we have Dimaga actually now committing immediately also to an Infestation Pit.
That's interesting. I really like the choice by Roro, though, to go into Roach speed. He's going to hit a second timing attack with Roaches that are fast and try to all-in. He's trying to keep this a secret by showing the double evolution chambers. Well, you know, he makes an Infestation Pit now as well. I thought he was really just going to commit to a second Roach attack without the upgrades.
And Dimaga is going down the same path. Why he's going for Mutalisks now is because he's chasing down Overlords, and he will get a huge advantage in terms of map control.
And he may also bait some Spore Crawlers to be made. Oh, look at that hive!
I don't really think that he's going to get too many of them, but what's going to happen here is that with those Mutalisks, he's hunting down the Overlords. There will not be a lot of detection anymore. The Mutalisks are already on the way taking down WCS. He's going into Hive right now, and we will actually see Ultralisks later on.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I was about to ask you, because you're the ZVZ expert much more than me, and I don't see Hive this often in ZVZ very often. We're going to see Swarmhost from Roar, it looks like, though.
We see Ultralisk a little bit more often in the matchup. It's actually pretty cool when it happens. I love that we have now the Swarmhost coming up for Roro. That is pretty cool. Dimaga is still on 2 bases. Keep that in mind. That advantage that he has is completely intact. He will get those units out. But this is actually a completely different game from what I expected. I really thought that Dimaga would try to get the 3rd base, and that's what he does right now, and just save it. But he goes straight into Hive as well. He wants to carry it far, far down the road, going straight into the tier 3 tag. And let's see how Roro's Swarmhosts match up against this strategy.
Yeah, you know, Ultralisk can cut through those locusts fairly well. I like that Contaminate on the research there of the upgrades, but I wonder how this is going to work. It's all about how many Swarmhosts Roro can get out, how much time Dimaga allows him, and also how can Roro really pressure this base with his Swarmhosts. It's going to be so hard to get out against all these Speedlings and the map control that Dimaga has, even with his Mutalisks.
You know what I'm really wondering about? When first we had the change to the Spore Crawler, people talked a lot about what could be possible, that he could go Swarmhost and try to just establish those Spore Crawlers at the front, because they do their extra damage also against Overseers. And then if you take them out, there is no detection anymore. So I don't really... I have not seen it yet, but it could be something if Roro is like really sneaky that he might try to do.
This is so interesting. I just don't see how he's going to be able to take a third base, though, with all the map control Demaga has right now. It's going to take him way too long, and Demaga already has his third base finished.
That's completely true. This is the one big advantage that Demaga has. Him fending off that early attack allowed him to get that third. Ro16 is trying. He sends out now his drone, but we already have Katinus Blading coming up, +2/+2. We have the first Ultralist already on the production tab, and he's going into Adrenal Glands. But Demaga is not allowing this third base. He's just sitting tight at the position at the Mineral Lines, and he's telling him, dude, listen, that drone, that is not going to happen. You can try, but you will fail.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying, and I mean, he's going to try to trade and actually Banelings against Locust. That's never what you want.
No, not at all. He didn't pay attention to this. But we have now at the left side another base.
It's going to have to be cancelled.
Yeah, he has to cancel it. But now we're coming into play with the Ultralist, and God, I love this child. Demaga is in such a great spot. Ahead in supply with a good economy, with a better tech. He needs to win this game, though. If he loses here, it is over for now. Then he will drop to the loser's match.
Yeah. I feel he's got so many advantages here, but Roar is still slowly but steadily building up that Swarm House count. He just needs a third base. I mean, he cannot survive on two base, you know, into the beyond 15-minute mark. That's not going to work out. He's making so many Swarm Hosts, though, now going up to 14 with 6 Queens to help transfuse and also to give him the anti-air against the Overseers, as well as the Spore Crawlers he may decide to add a little bit later.
We have a lot of Swarmers here. You're certainly right about that. But here come also those Mutalisks, once again scouting, trying to find out what's going on. And look at Demaga taking a 4th base, and everywhere on the map you see dots that indicate a few Overlords and Overseers that are on the map. Just scattered by Demaga to get scouting information. Roro doesn't have anything.
He has nothing.
No vision.
He's trapped, and these Locusts are going to trade okay here. But Demaga's just building more and more.
A 40 supply advantage. Oh, but look how the Ultras actually like melt away. He needs to get both, and he cannot fight against Locusts the entire time. He needs to get a good engagement.
Yeah, +2/2 is about to finish for those Locusts.
People often underestimate the power of Locusts, especially against heavy units like Ultralist. It looks like they could only tickle them, but Locusts do sick amount of damage.
Yeah, they really do. They activate the Hardened Shield of an Immortal. I think the base damage of a Locust is 14, if I'm not mistaken. And these Queens really need to run back and save this. Needs to target the Overseer.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's not targeting the Overseer. He's targeting the Mutas, but the Overseer are much more important to kill here. And Roro is actually taking a supply lead. He keeps killing Ultras.
Demaga cannot fight like this, and this is the one thing that I was really afraid of. If you go into the Mutalisk play, then maybe you are being caught by Infestors, but the thing is you dominate the map and you can make the transition later on. At this point, I actually think that Mutalisk would be much better for Demaga.
I was going to say, how do you feel about Demaga saving some gas into a surprise Mutalisk switch? I think that could actually be great for him in this situation.
I'm not sure if he really has the economy for it, but if he can get it out, I think it would be a lot better, because then those units are trapped completely helpless. But he's trying to move in right now at the natural.
Yeah, he's got a wall, though, and the Roach is blocking a little bit here. The Locust coming out, and he's got to run. But, you know, Roro cannot attack. He can only defend. And so if Demaga just sits back and saves his gas, he could definitely do that Mutalisk switch, I feel. It's going to take him a little bit of time, but he can use these Ultras to bully Roro a little bit, make sure he doesn't take a 4th base, fight against, well, not against Roaches quite like this.
Well, against the Roaches he can fight without a problem at all. It's just as soon as they are in creep.
Well, they're on creep, he just kites them, yeah. Oh, this is terrible for Demaga. He's not getting any good trades here.
Yeah, he doesn't have any Infestors for the Fungals. He's now getting them, and he realizes what's happening. Ah, the Queen's being caught. That's important.
Nice burrow save. That was really, really cool.
Let's not forget that Demaga is getting +3/+3. He's not only in a better tech situation, but he has much better upgrades.
And this base has not even been used. I mean, he's had that base up, he's held it, but he hasn't even used it at all. Aurora being extremely cost efficient in this game. 8,925 resources lost to 4,900. So 4,000 resources more cost efficient with those free Locusts.
Roro is coming back into this series, and he's coming back with a vengeance. He's slowly but steadily pushing those Swarm Hosts forward and then using the Locusts, and that's something that Demaga just cannot afford.
He's going to go for another Ultralist run-by here.
An Ultralist run-by. I never even thought that I would actually say that.
He's trying to catch him off guard here. Meanwhile, some Zerglings actually targeting down that hatchery, and right now, Roro has to split his forces to defend.
Ultralists just look silly without Infestors.
They really do.
Unless they back their opponent in a corner, they really look silly, because you can just kite them. And Roaches, they do also...
Especially with Locust support.
Yeah, a lot of damage here. Once again, the 3rd being attacked here. This is important. If those Lings are able to take down the 3rd, Transfuse after Transfuse being used, Adrenal Glands is ready, +3/+3 is not ready just yet.
Oh, that was so close. Demaga trying everything he can to limit the economy of his opponent.
There we go.
Finally, the Fungals are here. You can see how much of a difference it makes with those Ultras.
Yeah, and suddenly all the roaches are gone. This is what he needs. And keep in mind, the Fungal reveals the Swarm Host.
Yes, so that would be great for him. And he needs just one more Fungal in here. He's not quite able to close the gap. And Damaga losing so much resources here.
Yeah, he loses lots here, and his bank is also gone, but he has 4 mining bases, and another set of unit was at the left side trying to take down that third base for Roro, but he did not succeed just yet. Damaga is really trying, but Roro taking his supply advantage.
Roro with a sick comeback here, the Swarm Host being so cost efficient for him, and Damaga really committing to the Ultras, feeling he was more ahead than he really was.
And we actually have a transition into a Great Aspire, so he's going for Broodlings.
Such a smart choice, but is it too late? That's the question.
I really think that Needleless might have been a good answer. The problem with those Broodlords always is that Broodlords against in locals are actually trading very evenly. It's like a stalemate situation that you run into. It doesn't look good for Damaga at all at this point.
He doesn't have anything to stop the actual Roach aggression now anymore. One Roach kills an Ultralist. I never thought I'd see that.
He's losing just too much here. He's losing way too much. The base is going down, and he never took down the base to the left side of the map.
But he will now.
Yes, now he will. Now he has Adrenal Glands and 3-3, so this hatch is not going to survive. But is Roro really running out of resources before this happens? I don't think so. An army supply.
He has to start the Corruptors now.
Against 50 or 47.
Damaga can't even really afford Broodlords after the Corruptors are done. He's making 2 more Ultras because he's desperate here. But look at this. Catching Ultras as they spawn, getting them for free.
Wolf is nearly 3 times the army supply for Roro now.
Yeah, he's just basically had no economy the entire... He's basically been on 2 base for 22 minutes. I mean, yeah, he had the 3rd base up for a few minutes, but most of the time it was up, he was actually not even mining from it.
Damaga had a massive lead in the game, but he threw it away. He went for the wrong composition. Roro made all the right choices. He sat tight, went straight into the Swarm Host, and it pays off for him. He takes down the economy of Damaga. The Ukrainian Zerg player goes to the losers match. He will face Revival later on. Samsung Khan's Roro takes the series with a 2-0. Those Broodlords are going to buy a little bit of time for Damaga to think about what's happened in this game. That's about it. No mining whatsoever anymore for Damaga. His mineral patch in the main base are gone. And, well, the Broodlords, they will soon face Queens, whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Roro can start his own Spire now. I mean, the Broodlords are going to buy him time, but I mean, we're talking about
time for what?
The supply.
He's tripling the supply.
Yeah, exactly. Time for what? That's the question. I mean, he doesn't have an economy. He doesn't have enough minerals to make another hatchery, unless he can end the game with these. And that's exactly what happens. He's just going to make Corruptors with the Spire here.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to build a Spire, and those Broodlords will take a long time.
But you know what? Roro doesn't have, like, very many minerals at all, so he's going to have to... I mean, this is just like a weird situation. I don't think Damaga can come back at all, but it's going to take Roro a while to actually kill him if he doesn't GG, is what I'm trying to say, basically.
Roro is building up the mineral bank now. You know, he is long-distance mining. It's true. It's definitely true. He's long-distance mining. But if I mean, the only thing that you can see happening here, and that's the only thing, and that's like the biggest if that I've ever, like, mentioned. If those 4 Broodlords take down the Spire, then
I'm telling you, man, it's definitely possible, because if you look at this, he also doesn't have any the Corruptors that Damaga has 6 Corruptors, so he's going to need more than 6 to kill the Corruptors of Damaga, and then after that, this is what Roro should be doing, is actually going to kill the buildings, and now he's going across the map. He's going to just try to eliminate him first, because relying on the Corruptors alone is just, I mean, it probably will work, but there's a risk he could die.
It's just the slowest army ever that Roro has here. Sorry, Damaga has. Those Broodlords, I mean, they go to the top right now, which means that we will see Corruptors, and with 500 minerals and 2,000 gas, you can get enough out there to win this game. 3 are already being built. He's still trying to mine. Has only 1 queen, though. But the base to the top left has been...
He's going to kill the last extractor, and all he has to do is kill this hive, and then he'll be revealed, and also the buildings will start to die off.
It's going to take a little bit longer than if we would have had a mining base right from the start. But now we have the base to the top left about to be completed. He's going to start mining from that base. Damaga has never even seen it, and then more and more Corruptors will be built, and that game is going to end in Roro's face.
Yeah, he just needs to burrow a Swarm Host and kill the last of the extractors. And, you know, with no more creep here, he's already dead. There's nothing he can do.
He can ignore the Broodlords. Yeah. He can completely ignore them. It doesn't really matter. With a 156 supply against 32.
These bases are literally going to bleed out.
Yeah.
The only thing he has left is 1 extractor to the bottom right. The Evolution Chamber will die unless he spreads creep, which he can't because he doesn't have a lair.
He's mining at the top left, and he's starting more and more Corruptors. He has 4. This is going to be 7.
Those 2 queens look so silly on the other side of the map.
Yeah. And now it's GG. Like, now we have actually enough with the 3 corruptors on the production tab. He has enough to take it down. Dimaga knows it.
GG. What an exciting ZVZ series, though. You know, a crazy comeback, and had he made some different choices, Dimaga definitely could have taken game 2, absolutely. I mean, he was extremely ahead. Yeah,
he choked. Dimaga should have won this. He made the wrong decision going into the Ultralisk. He was kited, and the infestors were too late. He should have, if you go Ultralisk, then get those infestors a bit
as soon as possible.
Because you need the fungals. You cannot work without the fungals. And then when we had this huge commitment into Swarm Hosts, an Air Army, Mutalisks, whatever, would have been much more, much better. You mentioned like 8,000, 9,000 minerals lost for Dimaga and only 4,000 for Ro. This is how cost inefficient Dimaga was with this strategy.
And Locust, they don't cost money.
Yeah, he thought he could pull through, and it just didn't work out. It's sad. He had it, he had the game, but in the end, it is Roro who takes the victory.
Don't forget, Dimaga's not out of the group yet. He does fall down to the losers match. He's going to play against Revival and another ZVZ.
We're having a short break once again, and as soon as we are back, we will see the winners match, which is between Innovation and Roro. So guys, stay tuned, and then we will be back with the WCS Season 1 finals here in Korea.